Good evening.
Good.
Welcome to Joplin School Board meeting on this April 17th at 6 p.m. If you're just now tuning in, yes, it is 6 o'clock. We are getting ready to start a board meeting on this Wednesday night, and let's have roll call, Miss Waldo.
Mr. Landis?
Present.
Ms. Stickland?
Here.
Mr. Kimbrough?
Here.
Mr. Wilcoxon?
Here.
Mr. Flowers?
Here.
Mr. Steele? And
Present.
Ms. Sharp is not with us.
She's not present.
She's going to be here later.
Thank you for working in action. Let us all stand as we have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda is District Showcase, and I think I seen Tobin sitting back there, so I presume he's coming up, Dr. Bessendorfer?
That's accurate. So we would invite Mr. Schultz to come to the front and to tell us some things this evening. He has the Link Crew, and I bet that you've been hearing about our Link Crew because they're really making a name around town. And it's not because they're bothering people or because of problems. It really is because it's showing off what amazing kids we have. And I just want to begin by commending Mr. Schultz and anybody else that's worked with Link Crew. There's several other teachers I know Tobin, that have been helping you, but you've taken the lead on that and you've done a phenomenal job. And so tell us what Link Crew is all about and what's going on here tonight for us.
Thank you. Well, I brought a couple of students with me, Lane Freeborn and Chrissy Miranda, and after I get through bragging on the students, they'll have the opportunity to come up and tell you about what they've done. And the angle that I'm going to focus on discussing with you is what type of training and what type of roles our juniors and seniors are taking in the program. And then I'll let the juniors and seniors tell you about what their role is in working with the freshmen. So there are 6 Link Crew coordinators. I just am the one that's fortunate enough to spend my day working with our students, and so I'm very fortunate. And what I really want to talk about is the opportunities that they're given just to work in a variety of roles, hopefully that suit their future career path. So every Link leader we have is a mentor and a facilitator. They each take the opportunity to talk to students on a one-on-one basis in the freshman class, and they also have the opportunity to lead small group discussions with them. We have some photos up on the slideshow that you don't have of them performing those roles, but we have 110 Link leaders who are partnered with our 560 freshmen, and so they spend time both in individual and group settings working with them. We have a division of labor also where we try and give our Link leaders the opportunity to work in areas that are going to benefit them in their future career choice, and one of those categories is the spokesperson. And Lane and Chrissy are both spokespersons for Link Crew, and that's why they're here today. But if I could direct your attention to the pictures up on the slideshow, those pictures are taken in consecutive days, and it just really speaks to the versatility and creativity that they're willing to use to get out the message about Link Crew. One of our business partners, it took Lane dressing as the Cat in the Hat and bringing thing 1 and thing 2 along with them in order to get to visit with them. While another one of our business partners set up a very formal board meeting for the students to attend and present. So they've really done a great job being versatile and appealing to whatever the business partner wants. Another role that we offer to our students is that of project manager. It's very similar to The Apprentice if you've had the opportunity to watch that. We will task students with creating a project, and then it's their job to create the schedule and create all the logistical work that goes into pulling the project off. All of our projects are zero budget. So I will tell them to host an event for 550 freshmen, and I'm going to give you $0 to work with, and it's your job to raise funds.
Paul needs some help.
They've done pretty well. I've got a couple pretty good students that work on that, but The schedule up there is actually for the boys' February event that we hosted, and so there was a map that explained to all of our community mentors who came in how the rotation would work and what team they were a part of, and it was really effective, and our students created all of those items. The drink cooler in the bottom left-hand corner, we inserted that in there because 4 different times we've had 1,300 drinks donated for Link Crew events by some distributors in town, so they've done a great job taking care of us. We have a student publicity team. Our designer and photographer made the photos that you have in front of you, and that's a big part of our follow-up. They make poster-sized photos that go to the community as thank yous for people who have supported us. We have a publicist who makes a monthly newsletter. Kelly Price has mentored her in how to create that newsletter and send it out. We have event photographers and videographers that go out and make sure to document all the events that we have. We also have a social media coordinator to keep up with our Facebook and Twitter. We try and give students the opportunity to get on stage often. We had a modesty fashion show to show how you can dress within the dress code and still be fashionable for our freshman girls. And so we had some modesty models. We've given students the opportunity to MC and host for very large groups of students, both on an individual and group basis. We've had bands that have had the opportunity to perform with national recording artists in front of the entire freshman class. So trying to give students the opportunity to get in front of people. Our human resources team is responsible in the student role for taking care of our leaders and selecting our leaders. The stack of papers is a stack of 220 applications to be in Link Crew for next year. And we conducted interviews over the course of a 4-day period, and we selected 68 sophomores who are going to be in juniors to be first-year Link Crew students next year. And we had an HR team who conducted those interviews. They did an interview rubric, asked a series of questions. We dropped the top score and the bottom score and then averaged the rest, ranked the candidates in order, and those are the students who are offered positions in Link Crew for next year. Our HR team will also be conducting a leadership training. It was originally scheduled for April, but we had to cancel due to the weather because it's outside at 5 Mile Camp, and so that has been rescheduled for May. But they conduct the actual training. This is what you'll need to do when you go into freshman orientation and work with the freshmen. So. Our executive is probably one of the most difficult positions that we have. It's their job to actually administrate the events. The project managers plan the events, but then it's the executive job to carry them out. And I know it's difficult to see, but on the right-hand side, that's a checklist from one of our events of all the things that our executive had to make sure happened. So they had a team of around 10 to 12 students, and it was their job to make sure that we had 560 lunches there on time, that the 550 chocolate-covered strawberries were delivered, that all the freshman girls got roses and an invitation. So those checklists oftentimes start hours before the events take place, and it's a really great example of outstanding student work. I would absolutely hire any of those executives for any job I could ever think of. They've done a great job. That's just a second group of check sheets. I wanted to highlight those because that's one event that's taking place in 2 venues simultaneously. There was an event in Memorial Hall, and we were running simultaneously in the auditorium. And so our executive was responsible for administrating both buildings simultaneously, and they had to have a small team put together to do that. So. Some other roles that we're going to have and add for next year, we're going to have an accountant to help manage our donations and budget. We have a manager for the coffee shop at the 910 campus that they'll talk to you about soon. We're going to have a grant writer to help us secure more permanent funding. We have security at all our events, which basically consists of checking in our freshmen and making sure they're the only students who are there. And then we try and provide good hosting to our VIPs who come to our events, the people who are donors and come to witness. We have someone who takes them around and provides them with beverages and things like that, just as a host or an ambassador. So. And this picture I really like because it's what we're trying to do as Link Crew coordinators. We really want to empower the students to carry out roles that in the past only adults have carried out. And so at this time I'm going to hand the mic over to Lane and Chrissy, and they're going to share with you some of what Link Crew has done this year.
Sorry. My name is Chrissy Miranda. I work with Lane as a spokesperson. I'm a junior. I'll be here next year as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what Link Crew has done for our school so far. If you look at the PowerPoint, there were 560 freshmen that were mentored by 110 upperclassmen. These freshmen were put in groups of 10 to 12 for every 2 leaders, and these 2 leaders were partners throughout the year, and they had these kids that they would check in on throughout the year. The point of Link Crew is to establish this relationship early on, so we had our very first meeting with them at the freshman orientation, which I'll talk about later, but every week we have a check-in, so we can just check in. Usually there's a goals, a grade check or a bully check to see if anything's going on, just to establish that relationship and keep it going throughout the year. Along with that, we also host monthly follow-ups, which is those big budget events that Coach Schultz was talking about earlier that we have to raise the money for. So we check up with them individually and privately by ourselves, and then we like to throw them a party every once in a while. If we go on to the next slide, we can see actually all of those parties that we threw. These right here are some of our financial sponsors, so we can see how beneficial our community has been and how willing to help they have with Link Crew. It's just amazing to see all of those people who are willing to put forth effort to help the freshmen. This is just another list of donors. It's a lot of food. We always like to feed our freshmen, and so we get a lot of food all the time, and it's amazing.
Wow, 500 concretes.
JoJo's. We asked the freshmen because they are separated. That's one of the biggest tasks as Link Crew leaders this year that we had to do. We had to connect the 9-10 campus with the 11-12 campus, and because it is our job as Link leaders to link the 2 campuses, we had a survey, and we asked them, what's the one most important thing that you feel that you need to connect you to the upperclassmen? And they said, a coffee shop, since we had that, but they don't. And we put it together for them. And I feel.
Did you ask what was going to? Are they going to serve the same thing?
What's that?
Are they wanting to serve the same thing in it?
Oh, absolutely. It's the same coffee shop. Yeah. So we gave it to them. We just wanted to make them feel more connected. And then these are the events, the monthly events. The first one is going to be our freshman orientation. First of all, our 110 Link leaders went through a 3-day training. They gave up 3 days of their summer to train for this freshman orientation. Just leadership training and how to deal with the freshmen, and then we finally got to meet them. It was probably one of the funnest days of my summer personally. I got to meet all of these freshmen, and we played a ton of games, and we got to establish that connection early on. That was amazing. After that came the tailgate party in February. We wanted to give the freshmen an opportunity to connect with the upperclassmen who were all going to the football games. We gave them a free pass to the first football game. And we had a tailgate party where they got free food. Once again, we face painted, had a whole bunch of games. And the main point of these events is that we can hang out with them, and they felt like they were involved. All of those face painters are painting underclassmen's faces, and it's just nice to see that connection there. And then we had the bonfire. It's one of our other big events. We had a live band along with some of our games that we had before. We also had Lane emceeing for that. We had a nice dance contest that he participated in. It was pretty great.
How do you participate in MC it?
He's a very talented man.
Oh, that's good. Well, was you judging it too?
Yes, I did.
He didn't win. It's okay. In November, we had the Thanksgiving feast. That's probably one of our biggest attendance ones because we took them out of school. So we literally had every freshman there, and every lunch period we served every single freshman lunch, and we had donors from Rib Crib and Qdoba, I believe it was.
Rib Crib and Moe's.
Rib Crib and Moe's that donated that food to our freshmen.
Wow. All right.
The next one we had was Cocoa and Cram, and this was to prepare our freshmen for their finals that were coming up. A lot of the ones who were struggling with their grades and stuff, cool. Which is one of our check-ins actually. We asked them if they needed tutoring and whatnot, and once we got that information, we were then able to make an event. We had Jimmy John's donate, food for them to eat dinner while they were there, as well as, of course, drinks for them as well. So it was a very successful event, and we helped them raise their grades going into Christmas break. So. Our next event was we brought a beach party to January. We wanted to say, hey, summer's coming up. So, this was one of our the coolest events. We had, some blow up obstacle courses and, beach volleyball, and inside we held it in Memorial Hall, and just kind of had give them a little fun thing coming back from Christmas break that they could all be a part of. So it was very cool. Our next few events were actually kind of some of the biggest events that we did all year. First was our Inside Out, first was our Gauntlet event, which is where we had all the freshman boys participate. Just kidding, the Inside Out was first, which basically we had all the freshman girls participate in this one, and we had all the freshman boys participate in the Gauntlet. And the Inside Out, we wanted to show the freshman girls, that they're beautiful on the inside, and we wanted to make them feel empowered, and really wanted to show them that in high school, that it's a very hard time for girls, and and they need to build their self-confidence and whatnot. So we had, like we talked about before, we had roses, chocolate-covered strawberry delivered to them on that day, and we had 70 nail techs, I believe, come and give 250 girls, they all got manicures in a matter of an hour or so. So we had a great support from the community. This is just one of the feedbacks from one of the freshman girls that attended. So it's great to hear things like this as Link Crew leaders. It helps us realize what we're doing and who we're reaching. So our next one was the Gauntlet, which was huge because the National Guard was able to help us get all of the blow-up obstacle courses and the laser tag and all the stuff we had there. And this one was to show, guys how to step up, be leaders and work together as a team. We split up into teams, and we had them in a certain rotation, and they went to each station. One was, like I said, laser tag. We had some amazing guest speakers tell their, testimonies and stuff. So, definitely those two of our biggest, coolest events that we had all year, definitely. And then, again, some feedback from the freshmen from that event. Our next one was the March Talent Show, and we had sign-ups for all the freshmen to go ahead and enter their talent, practice it, and then do it in front of the freshman class, which is a hard thing as a freshman to get up there and do it. And we wanted to show them that they are talented and they can show it off and stuff. One of the coolest things from this event is we had one girl get up and she started to sing, and she missed a few of the words, and we were worried as the audience that maybe some of the audience was going to start booing and start, maybe making fun of her, but it was the exact opposite. As soon as she messed up, they all started standing up and cheering for her and cheering her on. And for me, that was one of the most shaking moments from this year, to show that we're making an impact. Because I feel like for me as a freshman boy sitting in that audience, I wouldn't have made the same choice. I might have chosen to make fun of the girl or boo her, and to see that change in the culture of freshmen is huge, and it means we're getting somewhere with them. So then we have, again, this is another feedback from that event from a freshman. So these are some of the results that we've had. Now, it's very early on in our program, so it's been hard trying to get exact data and stats. So this is just a few. Paired with the freshman teachers and in the school district, Link Crew has helped them get 567 fewer discipline referrals from this time last year to this time this year. So, as well as a 40% reduction in the Fs among freshmen. We also, A's and B's are on the rise, as well as the D's are decreasing. So we're seeing a big, and this is not something that just happened this one fluke year. We went back about 5 years in the data and kind of compared it, and it was all pretty much similar to it. So it's been a great group effort from everybody, from the teachers to Link Crew. So it's been huge, as well as I think as well as, the other thing about Link Crew is the data is not where you get your best results. It's from some of the stories that we've had this year and some of the kids that we've helped, behind the scenes with their issues and the things that I've seen in my own group and stuff like that. This right here is just a model of everything that we think Link Crew can do, and you see it on the very bottom. The community is the foundation. If we have them, building us up, providing us with the resources and the training and the stuff that we need, then right on top is the school district, who helps us, for us juniors and seniors, get out of the class and go over to that other campus and help those kids, and they back us, and they tell the Link Crew, they tell the freshmen, the Link Crew is very important. Listen to what they have to say. And on top of that is us as Link Crew, doing the jobs that we do, talking to the freshmen and doing different stuff like that. And then on top, of course, is our freshmen, which is what we're trying to hold up and build them up so they can graduate and be successful in life. And we feel like it starts as freshman year. A lot of the habits and the things that you do in your high school, say, party or, play football or stuff, that is all decided in your freshman year, who you decide to hang out with. And that's why we really want to get a hold of those freshmen before, they can fall into any of that stuff. So, I feel like this program is huge, and I'm so glad I've been a part of it. And I just want to thank all of you guys and all the community for giving everything that you have, and not only that, just, giving time today to listen to us and hear us out. So thank you very much.
First of all, from everything we've seen, you've had a busy year.
It's been quite a busy year, and if I had to be honest with you, when I signed up for Link Crew, when I got interviewed for Link Crew, I did not think it was something that it was going to be like this.
They told me it was going to be easy.
Anytime someone tells you it's easy, check into it. Yeah, they told me that when I became board president too. Yeah, it's going to be easy.
Well, let me tell you, out of everything that I've done in high school, there's nothing that I felt like I've made more of an impact in than Link Crew, because I had my brother who was a junior and a senior when I was a freshman and sophomore, and he really helped me through, and I had that foundation. But a lot of kids aren't as lucky as I was.
And Link Crew has given us the opportunity to help those kids, and it really has made an impact.
The other turnaround that you're getting from that is the difference that it's made in students like me and Chrissy, to get in front of a boardroom and give a presentation to all of you. If you would have told me last May that I'd be doing that, I would have turned and ran the other way. But now I enjoy it. It's something I like to do.
And we do it often,
yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, so it's not only helped them, but it's helped us see our leadership skills and our speech skills and project managing skills improve, and it's a very, very important.
And you guys also have an outstanding instructor, Coach Tobin, backing you all.
We couldn't do anything without him.
We try to thank him a lot, but he doesn't like the spotlight on him.
We know that.
Can't tell.
Yeah.
But definitely Coach Schultz, definitely one of the best teachers in our high school for sure, for a lot of different reasons.
So, Lane, you're graduating?
I am graduating.
What are your plans?
I plan to go to Missouri Southern, and I'm going to study marketing and broadcasting is my plan. I might want to do like a public relations job or something like that. But
I can do a Go Lions, because I'm a Southern.
Go Lions, that's right. Lion pride.
One of the things that you accomplish is teamwork. Of everything that you accomplished there's a lot of teamwork. But not only you influencing the kids this year, you just made a difference for the kids coming up too. You just started that stepping stone now. So you're going to affect a lot of kids.
Where did you guys find out about Link Crew? Was it started somewhere else?
It was brought to us. It was brought to us after the tornado hit. They felt like it's a nationally recognized program, so it's all over the country, and they felt like it was something that we could use after something tragic like that hit. So they brought it to us, and then as far as I don't know if this is right, but I don't know if there's another school who goes as in-depth as we do as far as, splitting it up into groups. And
there are schools in the area who have a Link Crew.
Right.
What they'll do is they'll have the freshman orientation, and then they'll treat it like a elective afterwards or an after-school club that if you need help, you can go see your Link leader. We have a whole class devoted to it.
Right.
And they don't keep that connection like we've done throughout the whole year.
Just your detail and your planning and everything.
That's huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah, again, we have some great kids, but it all starts with our our teachers and
Absolutely.
Coach Schultz. He's the one, like he said, he comes to us and he says, you know what, you have $0 and you have to plan this and you have to do this, get it
Paul
done.
likes that.
And
Paul likes
it's
$0.
something, right, and it's something that we enjoy doing, and it became almost easy by the end of the year, because we had done it so much, and Coach Schultz had taught us so well, and we got so much help. So.
Well, two things I have. I was interviewed earlier today by KOMU in Columbia, Missouri.
Me too.
And they came down. Were you interviewed?
Yes.
Okay, they told me they talked to a high school student, so it was you. But they asked me, my thoughts on the class of 2012, and then the class of 2013. And I said, well, outside of them not getting the president for graduation, they get me, and stuff like that. I said, the thing that's impressed me most about both groups of kids is the leadership that both classes have shown under some very trying times. And you guys have done some amazing work out there on behalf of kids. So real proud of that, and real excited. You guys have been successful enough that we've seen the value in the work that you've done to the degree that we're moving that down. You probably already know down to the middle school level.
Web.
And I think it's called Web. Is that right?
Absolutely.
At the middle school?
In fact, they
Where we belong, it's what it's called. It's
Oh,
another
really?
program for. We're going to extend the link crew to the 3 middle schools just so we can start that relationship earlier on.
Well, we actually will be taking a small interviewing group, just like we did with up at the high school level. We're going to take a small interview group over there to do the interviews for the 7th graders going on to the 8th graders. So
Is Joplin going to be over that too, or is he going to get help? He's coming up to comment on that one.
No, the district sent 2 coordinators from each of the 3 middle schools to the same training that the high school coordinators went
good.
to the previous year. And so the extent of Link Crew's involvement is to help them with the selection process. It's kind of a daunting task to pick what students get to be involved. And so the administrators at the middle schools took care of the interview process and have everything set up and scheduled. And then our human resources team on Monday is going to go over to each of the 3 schools and conduct the interviews.
Cool.
So that will be the extent of their involvement. If they want to do future trainings and things like that, we'll learn about those as they come up. But for right now, we're just going to help them with their leadership selection. I think the emphasis also at the middle school will be on having a really great 6th grade orientation this year. I think that's probably their #1 task, and so we're going to try and help them prepare to do that just off of the experiences that we've had. But the training that the coordinators went to, again, it's the same one I went to last year, and it was by far the best professional development that I'd ever been to. Had a tremendous impact on me and my future in education. I know it was a good investment to send those 6 educators.
Thank you for your leadership with all this, Tobin. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Any more questions?
Thanks, you guys. You probably know I have a son that's a freshman this year, and
Right.
he has thoroughly enjoyed. He's a bit bashful, and so, but I know he loves the Link Crew activities. But he really has a lot of respect for his Link Crew leaders. So I think that's. And it did make him feel a part of the high school right away, and so I just want to tell you guys thank you as parents. So they've really, it's been a great asset to us.
Coffee every day?
And he gets coffee every day.
There you go.
And it's better than Starbucks, so yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks. Good job.
You can go all week with them.
Need approval of the agenda?
So move.
Motion been made by Mr. Kimbrough, second by Mr. Flowers. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Reports. Dr. Huff, I guess we're going to start with
Okay,
construction.
we will start with construction. We've got a lot going on in construction. It's been a good month. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Johnson, and we're going to start rolling.
Well, we have manholes tonight for the first time.
Okay, great. We're going to talk about safe rooms.
Safe rooms.
Pull that microphone a little closer to you, because I'm sure he'll want you to have that right in front of you. There you go. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Jeff Gaddis with Napholz Construction. I'll be the project manager on all the safe rooms that we've got going on, and things are moving very quickly, and we're getting extremely close to starting construction if all goes well. Just a quick update of where we are. We have bid documents or construction documents for what we're calling the first wave or the first 5 that are in for approval. Those 5 are Cecil Floyd, Eastmoreland, McKinley, Stapleton, and Jung Fieldhouse. Those are in for approval right now. Again, we just received our construction documents. The plan is that we will be taking this out to bid or out to the bid market as soon as Monday or Tuesday. We're finishing up some coordination in-house, so we've got a good plan put together to bid all those at one time completely. We plan to take bids on this first wave on May 13th. We'll have bids come into you all. We'll open those on the following days publicly and read them aloud. We're working closely with Tri-State Contractors Association here in town. They're going to be our plan distributor and holder of the documents, make sure that we've got good local support and get a nice turnout on this. Additionally, we do a lot of things to help drum up interest on this. You've got a lot of construction going on in town, so we want to make sure that we're reaching out to the big and small contractors, give everybody a chance. And this is a unique situation where we can do that because we have a lot of smaller projects than what you have with the high school. So what we're going to do is we'll have subcontractor summits where we're going to have that here in this boardroom in the next couple weeks, and we're going to invite everybody that Tri-State has to offer here in town, and we're going to help them. We're going to have them help us cater these bid packages to the locals. Okay, so that's our main focus there, and really, you know, just get down to the meat of the project, and you know, cater this project to how it fits best with everyone. Again, that will take place around May 2nd. We're working on availability of this room, but we're getting very close. Hopefully, all goes well. We take those bids on the 13th, read them on the 15th and 16th. Prices come in right, and we're fortunate enough to have you all approve that. And then lastly, FEMA and SEMA approve this for the funding, which is towards the end of May. We want to come back to you all on the 28th and ask for approval of all those bid packages for this first 5. And then, you know, all that goes well, we want to break ground on June 3rd, which is the Monday after that board meeting. So we've got a lot of work to do in a little amount of time, and we're just trying to make this happen as quickly as possible for you.
Any questions?
Great.
Welcome.
We're excited to see some of that going on.
All right. Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
Come on up, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are you?
Outstanding. Well, we've got a short verbal report, you know, on each of the projects that we're working on, and then as typical, we've got some updated photos, which I'm sure you guys enjoy more than listening to us talk about the projects, which give you a better idea of what's going on the project. I'll start with an update on the high school project and what we've accomplished over the course of the past month, or I guess since our last board meeting, actually 3 weeks ago. You've probably seen a significant change in the structural steel over that period of time. We have completed, I shouldn't say we, HME, the steel fabricator, and Weaver erectors have done a fantastic job of getting steel out to the job site and getting it in place. They have the superstructure complete for Area D and about 90% of the structure complete for Area E, which makes up what we're calling the bioscience wing that we've talked about in prior meetings. They've also got steel that is on the way to start the actual west half of it. If you remember, you know, because of some sequencing issues, we went ahead and went up with the east half of the building for 3 stories and allowed Branco some additional time to catch up on some of the footings, which they've done. They're about 70% complete with the footings on the west half of Area D now, which is going to allow us to start the west half of that structural steel erection here in about 3 weeks. On areas B and C, which is the communication addition and the arts wing that we're referring to them. We've made pretty good progress there as well. All of the lower level grade beam footings have been completed since our last report to the school district. And if you've been by, you can see that they've got a lot of the foundation wall forms are up in place. We're actually scheduled to have our first wall pour for Area C by the end of this week, as long as the weather cooperates and allows us to do that. So we're really encouraged with the progress that they've made. Additionally, Omni and P1 continue to work closely with the steel erectors and Branco and getting in where they can to get their underslab work completed. They're currently working in under D now that we've got all the steel topped out for Area D, so they can safely get in and get the rest of their underslab plumbing in, which is exciting, which will allow us to get slabs in by the next board meeting. Some other things you'll see over the course of the next month. We should, what else will we see? We will see the, I lost my place, I apologize. We will see the slabs for Area D and E should be completed, which if the weather holds up, we'll actually start to see some of the structural studs come up around the first pod or the first classrooms. We will see the completion of the foundation walls over on Area B and C, which will allow us to hopefully get close to starting structural steel on this second set of towers, which will be exciting as well. And I know Dr. Huff has asked at a couple previous meetings, now that we've got steel out on the site, kind of our next milestone is when can we get roofing started for these buildings. Right now we're tracking to have our first roofs being underway around the 1st of July, and those will continue from July through the end of the year as the structure moves forward. So with that, questions about what you're seeing on site or about how things are progressing?
The PA, are those tilt-ups?
We have, it's not tilt, you're at the Performing Arts Center. Yes. We have precast walls for, I guess, the main perimeter of that. So they'll be fabbed off site and brought in and erected. And then surrounding those, we've got a combination of load-bearing masonry and steel that ties into the precast.
Okay. Looks great, just having the big mounds going.
I'll jump in and go through Irving. So if you've driven by there, I know the last time that we met, which wasn't too long ago, we were talking about our goal of getting the roofs on the building and closing the envelope. As you drive by now, you can see we've started to make considerable amount of progress despite the rain that we've had. It's played a bigger factor in stopping our roofing, but we still managed to dry in, I would say right now, about 50% of the two-story classroom, 2nd through 5th grade classroom area. It's dried in to a point where we're able to continue to make way with the overhead rough-in, and the exterior you can see is weather barriered. We've got the veneer started, they've got the base course down, and they're getting ready to start bringing up the facade. So you'll see the finishes. And if you've driven by the site and driven through the site, you can see what those actual color samples are. We've got the mock-ups in place so you can see what those finished patterns will look like. But that's going to start, actually we're hoping to get them going full bore tomorrow. They've got scaffold set up, they've got the base course started, and they've got all the materials ready to go. So rain's just kind of been plaguing us a little bit, starting and stopping on the masonry, but they've been plugging away like we would like. Finished up with the load-bearing masonry as we talked last meeting. We had one little place that we were topping out, and that's finished now. So in the next week, we're looking to see structural steel complete, wrapped up. We've got some detailing to do for some seismic bracing and things that they have to do, but by and large, they'll be complete with the structure of the building that we're tying in. And the exterior stud framing, we're pushing really hard. They've made some good progress in the advanced areas, the kindergarten and 1st grade classroom side. So you can see that's kind of shelling in. And the goal will be just to turn all of the veneer over to the masons and get them moving entirely around the building. Roofing, likewise. By the time we meet again, we're pushing for our goal being next month, roof on, at least to a point where we're dried in for interior finishes. I would say in the next week and a half, we're ready to start gyp on the interior of the 2-story. So we'll start making progress on those finishes, and things are coming along really well. So, with a little bit of weather cooperation, we get some roofs on this building, and things are going to start coming together much more quickly. So it's progressing really well. Any questions on Irving? I'll jump over to East and Elementary 2 or Soaring Heights. Okay, middle school. As you can see, we talked about a little bit of the loose ends coming around the building, and what you saw from envelope enclosure. We've got most of that sheathing up right now. Our goal was to start veneer last week. We've made steps for that to happen. We've got them actually out there starting right now. We're splitting up and doing another crew, so they'll be starting at the end of the very west end of the middle school portion, also at the back of the building, and working clockwise around the building. So our goal is to enclose the middle school from a veneer standpoint by mid to late May. That would give us an opportunity to start on the parking drives and bring in the west drive lane and get the parking on the southwest corner of the building installed to hit our spring planting season for some of the seating and things. Talking about seating and jumping a little bit outside of the building, we've got 4 packages on the street right now that are out to bid. They're going to bid next week. That's going to be for precast terrazzo, landscape and irrigation, our asphalt package, and some decorative railings. That'll conclude all the bidding for the project. So we'll have everything secured and under contract pending your guys' approval of those packages coming in within budget. With that package coming underway, like I said, we're going to chase the drives out of the spring planting season and get that. Some of the black dirt will start going in, and then likewise the seeding and irrigation. So it'll start dressing up the site, and we'll move our way around following the facade finishes. So I think the biggest milestone we were talking about last meeting was what you'd see from the elementary school side. Our goal was through the month of April and the first week of May is to set the steel out. So you'll see the building standing, and they're starting to erect some of the things on the ground. They'll be swinging them up in place. So good progress has been made. It's a little easy to see, or a little harder to see coming out of the commons area. It's more intricate framing, steel framing, than just some of the classrooms on the end. But progress is keeping up like we'd like. So despite some of the rain delays, we've had 6 weather days since we met last, but progress is still maintained. So I still look to see probably the first, maybe the second week now where we're buttoning out steel through the elementary side. Still detailing, but we'll be in a place where we're starting the exterior framing and enclosing the envelope there as well. So goal being roofing, just like at Irving. If we can get those roofs on in the next month, likewise turning the roofs loose for the elementary school side, we're progressing just where we want to be. So good things on both of those projects right now.
Great.
Cool. Sounds good, guys.
One thing to add, if you haven't been by East recently, which I think is neat, and it's going to be a focal point of the building. If you haven't seen the structural steel for the lighthouse, they're putting that together out in the middle of the slab right now on the I guess on the elementary side, and they're kind of piecing that together so they can erect that in place. So if you get a chance to take a peek at what that's going to look like before it gets erected in place, we're kind of excited about some of those unique features starting to take shape over at that project too.
Any questions? You got some pictures?
Pictures.
Yeah.
Bet.
That thing looks cool.
I love that roof. It's very cool. Very distinctive.
Oh, look at that stage. I have Jen in there. Wow.
That's cool.
That looks good. see. Which still's in the ground. Those are the hillside, a long ways to it, right? People don't understand. That building still keeps going east and then west. How many more feet does the building continue going out to the west? I see you're starting to put the upper footings in. Don't think people realize, you know, you're doing your steel structure right now, but the building continues and goes towards Grand.
Yes. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew exactly how many feet, but
60, 70 feet?
It's basically double of what you see with the
right
steel.
now.
So it's about the halfway point. So you're going to extend out as far to the west as you are to the east.
Well, I just have one question. How's the schedule looking?
The schedule is is encouraging right now. We got all the feedback from the contractors, and the only area, as long as weather cooperates with us, that looks like it would extend into the school year right now is the Performing Arts Center. Everyone else's durations and the manpower that they say they can commit to the project should afford us the opportunity to get the rest of the space open as planned.
Very good. And we can do that.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Looks great.
CJ's going to talk about a trip.
Yeah,
Just
we
one, right?
just one. Went out to Washington, D.C. last Monday evening, spent 3 or 4 days lobbying at our nation's capital on behalf of the school district, and just to give you a quick rundown, visited with Facebook, got some FaceTime with Facebook. That was interesting. Met with the National League of Cities and got some resources there. Also visited with McCaskill, Blunt, and Long's offices. Probably most significant conversation I had out there as I was talking to most all of these groups is around our need for extended mental health services over the next several years. And Department of Education, we had a long conversation with them about some potential funding sources for the support of our long-term mental health needs as a school district was to continue to work with kids that are struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think as of right now, we're servicing about 1,400 of our 7,400 students. And Department of Ed's looking into some possible funding sources, and I'm hoping to know something in the next 2 weeks. So that's an expenditure we're looking at around $460,000 a year for the next 2 years, and then we'll see where we're at that point. But it was a good trip, and hopefully, it's when you go out and sit down and visit people face to face, that's an important conversation to have, and they listen. Our representatives were all great and very supportive of our efforts, and we're looking at some ways they could help us out too. So we're not going to stop on that particular issue until we find the funding to continue the mental health services we need for the next couple of years. So it was a good trip.
It's also the same group, the city, the county.
Yeah, the city, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Went out with Missouri Southern, the city, and let's see who else we have represented, in Chamber of Commerce. And we all had our various entities that we visited with. Interestingly enough, it's funny, how, like example, National League of Cities, I wouldn't have expected. I went there, the mayor was there to visit with them on behalf of the city, and the conversation quickly turned towards bright futures and the work that we do, because that's a big part of their effort is finding ways to support at-risk youth in communities across the country. So got some great resources there, and they expressed some interest in the work we're doing in Joplin. So I've got some things to follow up on there. It's a good trip.
Anything else for your report?
That's it.
Well, I went to the National School Board Conference. In fact, I didn't get back till late last night. Kim Van and I got back late last night. CJ was also there when he left Washington, D.C. He joined us for National School Board Conference. It was I'd say it was one of the best conferences I've been to. Our school district presented 4 times about the tornado. You want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah, I had 4 presentations. One was 5 minutes long, one was 20 minutes long, one was 30 minutes long, one was an hour and 15 minutes long. So, and it covered a variety of topics related to the storm.
The 5-minute one?
What's that?
Had 2 minutes.
The 5-minute one was the hardest one to give, if you can imagine. But that was a tough one, but well received. I think the first session, the 5-minute one, this might be a reflection of me as a speaker. The 5-minute one, I had 160 people present. The hour and 15-minute one, I think I had about 6. So,
but the reason of that that
take
was,
from that.
that last one was one of the last sessions of the day, and by that time, people had already snuck out for the
But it was a
afternoon.
good conference, a lot of good speakers. We heard Gina Davis spoke, talked about gender equity and some of the things we need to be thinking about as school boards. And Diane Ravitch I missed. I don't know if you guys got a chance to hear her speak on Monday, but I heard,
Very good.
she's a good speaker and certainly an advocate for public schools. And so it was a good conference. I'd encourage you, if you can go, if you get the opportunity. It's one of the better conferences you'll go to.
I'd like for us to send more next year. I went to classes on anywhere from social media to school board classes to Common Core to bullying.
Customer service.
Customer service, that was one of them. Customer service, you're right. It was quite unique with customer service. The first person that our staff or our students see and our families see is sometimes we always think it's a secretary, sometimes it's the bus driver, sometimes it could be a custodian out front. So customer service was quite unique, and I'll share more with that with you later. But wonderful conference. Some of the days you guys had nicer weather than we did out there. It's hard to believe, but it was a nice conference. So moving right along, no public comments on the agenda tonight. Need a motion for consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Flowers, second by Mr. Landis. Any questions? Please vote.
Yes.
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 And yes. Moving right along, Joplin High School course additions for 2013-2014 action. Is that?
Sorry, hold on for a second.
Okay, number 7. Was that in my consent agenda? Oh, it's, never mind, I'm reading right along.
I do have one thing for regular agenda items.
Okay.
Superintendent's report.
Okay, moving down to regular agenda. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to have Angie give a quick update on the, about a 20-minute update on the programming of Joplin High School and FTC and how that's coming along.
I'm glad you told him that you rephrased the quick thing, because I was like, oh no, that was my
I didn't go down far enough, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, that's okay. I did want to just give you a really quick update on where we are with Joplin High School and the vision and the development and where we're going, just because I think it's something that we need to keep in front of our community, and so I wanted to be sure that we shared with you all, because I do think that it's probably a good time for us to maybe seek out some of the clubs and organizations in town to kind of remind them. We've told them a lot of this, but not all of it during the bond campaign, and they were listening for other things than just necessarily this, and so it's probably time for us to do that. And so I'm just going to really quickly hit the things we know, and then kind of tell you some of the later developments of what's gone on. And so I do have the lovely picture of what the future high school is going to look like as the beginning, but it's exciting. It's fun to imagine that steel and think that's what it's going to look like, because that's the rendering. So moving forward, we do have the Skills for the 21st Century Citizens, and if you'll remember, right before the tornado, the Strategic Planning Committee came to this. And so the question is if these are really the things that we're going to do, then what would it look like if we really meant it? And I love that quote, which is actually from one of the architects that we've worked with in the projects. And so, and she asked us and challenged us, what would it look like if we really meant this? And so as we've moved through it, it has to mean that we're going to innovate. It has to mean that we're going to change. And so we've had dream meetings, we've worked through, working with experts, we've taken school visits, we've research proven practice, and the bottom line is we're thinking differently about our practice, and I think it's probably about time. And so there's several shifts, really 5 shifts, and I'm going to kind of go through those. The first one is what you know, the career path piece. And so, Calista, if you want to click on through, you've all seen this, nothing new. We've used that. The 5 career paths. I do want to note that students can take an a la carte approach. They can choose a variety and do that. Everybody's going to get the same thing as far as what is required for high school graduation. Then from there, they'll have a choice of whether they're going to go from high school to work, high school to technical school, college, or graduate studies. There is a little bit of a misnomer out there that we're just going to a training high school and we're just going to do training. And that's absolutely not the case. We're still going to have AP dual credit, probably even increase those opportunities. And so it's not just about training, but it's about making sure that we're meeting the needs of all kids. I was at a workforce investment summit yesterday, and one of the points that was made is that 25% of the jobs out there need college. The rest of them, you don't have to have college to have it, which was an interesting statistic that I wasn't aware of. And what they criticized was that we want all of our kids to go to college. And so we've got a lot of people out there with debt from college who can't get jobs and things like that. And so maybe we can do a better job with that. Another shift is in student empowerment. We want those kids to be able to take the lead and move through their high school with some choices, and to be able to make their high school make a connection to their future life, including things like working ahead so that they can have internships or getting that associate's degree. And we feel like that this will be very motivating and reduce our dropouts. And so that's nothing really new. Now we get to really some of the newer work that we've been working on. Is that all sounds really good, but how do we get to the nuts and bolts and earn credit and all of those kinds of things? And so the group has met in the Rethinking Time meeting and really defined maybe different ways we can earn credit, and we're ready to take those to DESE now to say this is what we're planning to do. So we already have embedded credit, dual credit, and credit recovery, but we're talking about some other things like advanced placement, like for college credit. Why can we not do that for some of the classes that we have in high school? You know, so we need to get a good name for it, but we'll kind of work through that. But several different kinds of ways to earn credit and to do some things different. We're also then rethinking time. And so we've talked about rethinking time. And, you know, we have traditional class settings, online class, blended classes, and we're doing some flipped classes. But we're talking about maybe even there's some opportunities for teachers to team teach, and kids get 2 different credits in one class. Or maybe it's that there's a workshop and there's a series of meetings that students attend to earn part of a credit, and those add up to become a whole credit together. Just different kinds of ways. As you continue on through, there's, you know, other ways that the team had come up with, you know, like even some student-led seminars, like our link crew leaders who are earning absolutely fabulous experiences, getting different kinds of credit for that, and making some of those things different. And so it's an exciting way to think about what high school can look like. In addition, on the Rethinking Time, there's another slide on, you know, maybe it's lab work, small groups, you know, different kinds of things. And we do have the training programs that are pretty prescribed right now through FTC. So those things will stay the same, things will be different, but not every kid will have everything. It'll be about their own personalized learning journey through the high school. And that's going to be a way that it takes it. We've also talked about how will time be framed, and it may be really different, and we're not exactly sure. We're working with Infinite Campus, which is our student management system, on can their system help us to build a very flexible way of approaching time in the high school. And today we think they can, which is a really big celebration, because not having to switch the student information system really saves us some time. And so, but we're looking at how can things be different. It was interesting what the students take on this side of it when we were at our Rethinking Time meeting. You know, they were like, if you'll just give us trimesters and just make us take 2, that would be better, because I'd like to go snow skiing instead of going to, you know, having the summer off or whatever. So we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, because what we have to do first is develop the curriculum, define the courses and the program of study that's possible. Let the teachers then figure out how do they want to serve that. Do they want the whole thing at once? That's one option. Do they want another option where it's half and half? Do they want to use the workshop way? Do they want to use... So all those options that were listed, they'll define based on the course content and the mastery of the content that they need. So what we hope is that most courses will be offered in a variety of ways, but they won't all be offered in every way. Probably none of them will be offered in every way. So just some different kinds of things that way. Then the final big shift is in trust. And you know, when we're not having kids in boxes all day, we're having to learn to trust them. We're teaching them time management, which we think is important for their life, and unleashing them to reach their potential. And so that's going to be a big shift, and that'll be a big shift for our community as a whole, and we kind of want people to start thinking about that'll be, you know, something different. And then of course just the instructional practices. They're still very much the same that we've been implementing currently with the one-to-one model, but it's important stuff that we want to keep in front of you. The next steps on Monday, we finally are celebrating. We actually have a meeting scheduled with DESE to actually say, this is where we are. This is what we want to do, and we're going to need those waivers I've been talking about. You know, I've been on that with anytime I see our commissioner or any of our folks at DESE to say, the current system of how you do it probably isn't going to work for us in our new high school. And so we're ready. We have the PowerPoint ready to roll and to ask for the things like if you paid us before on attendance and we don't have every kid sitting in a box and going from box to box all 7 hours of the day, how are you going to pay for our educating these kids now? And so we'll have to work on that. We'll have to work on some certification things. We have to work on MISHA. You know, we want to make sure that nothing that we do would be harmful to our kids. It was encouraging. We went and took a trip in cooperation with the Chamber, and I appreciate Rob O'Brien very much for helping to coordinate this, but we took some Chamber members along with educators last Friday to Houston to visit Carl Wunschie High School and to see that, and there was a lot of enthusiasm to what they saw, and part of that was that this is such a conceptual change for folks that when they were able to see that concrete physical building that looked like a school, kind of, but also, you know, not quite like ours has been, then they were able to take that concrete and then now they're able to build on those more abstract concepts of how are we doing time and all of that. And they even learned that Carl Wunschie was rethinking their time too, so which was kind of neat. I mean, we're doing something that's different, but it's things that other folks are thinking of too. So it's really where education has to be heading if we're going to meet the needs of our students. But we're excited about the meeting with DESE. We're ready to get that blessing, and we're excited to continue that curriculum work. Teachers are going to be heavily involved. We also need business folks heavily involved in that curriculum development, and so our career path coordinators are working hard with that, and it's going to be an exciting time. They're implementing a few things. That's part of what was in the course changes, with some of those things moving towards, you know, some of that, and so it's exciting. So that's kind of where we're headed, is just continue to build on that.
I got a question. We've talked about this before, but I think it's an important point that we need to make to the community. It's related to those basic skills. Can you cover that and kind of how that's touched? Because I have had a conversation or two with a couple of CEOs in the community that are all in on, they understand what we're doing and why, but there's questions about, are we still teaching basic skills?
We are still teaching. I hesitate on the basic skills because the Common Core is so much more than basic skills. We're going to be teaching the requirements that are required by state law for our state curriculum. You have to have certain things, you have to have certain kinds of credits, and they assign those to certain things. And so the high school graduation requirements have not changed. Students will still have to have algebra. They're still going to have 4 maths and 4 comm arts and all of those kinds of things. How they get them may be different. That's the difference. It may be integrated. It may be integrated to where science and social studies and communication arts are earned at the same time for that credit, so that they have time later for an internship. So they're doing a lot of writing about social studies things and earning those kinds of things, but marrying those. But we're not like saying, let's just mush it together and just call it that. It really has to meet those objectives. And so right now what's happening is the teachers are working on that curriculum with the career path coordinators, and they're taking the objectives very down to the student can do this. What can they do? What do they have to be able to do? And defining those out and determining then, are there any connections to one another where they're connecting across content areas that would be natural ways to mesh that together, and kind of really doing that nitty-gritty, detail, hard work of curriculum writing that makes sure that we do this right. And so it's good stuff that we're working on, but it just takes a lot of time. And so I think some people think it's just like, oh, we're just going to do it and we already know what we're doing. No, we're building this, and it really is a design build. We're, you know, putting up a wall and saying, nah, that doesn't really quite work, and then we're trying again. So Archie and those guys are doing a lot better job at that than we are, as far as they've got the whole thing laid out. This is very much creative work that takes a lot of thinking and a lot of people coming together and then looking at it again and going, maybe not, and trying it again. And so it's exciting stuff.
Any questions of Angie? Thank you. On discussion items, I need to remind everyone that, in fact, I got the letter in the mail. End of course exams are coming up. Prom, graduation, project graduation. And I think a lot of people are looking for May 21st.
It's more than just my birthday, it's the last day of school.
Well, I wasn't going to think about your birthday. I mean, fine, May 21st is CJ's birthday, and it's also the last day of school. So, you know, that worked out pretty good for you, didn't it?
We're going to take the afternoon off.
You got to take the afternoon off. This last year as your board president, it's been a busy year. It's been an opportunity to represent this district as board president, and I thank this board for allowing me to be your president. Thank the staff and the CJ for being able to work with them one-on-one, and it's time to fill this chair with the new president, so at this time.
I have one discussion item real
Okay.
quick. I wanted to ask CJ, on the HUD money that the city just received, originally they received what, somewhere around 43 million?
I think it was like 43 or 45 last year.
And then the new round that they just received is around 113 million. Are you in any type of contacts with the city to see if we qualify for any type of that money, the HUD money for Joplin schools? What's going on with that?
You know, I've had limited contact with the city. One of the things that's on Paul and I's to-do list is a request a meeting to sit down and talk about that possibility. We do have some needs, as you know. We talked about several tonight. But we are not back to a pre-tornado condition as it applies to our fund balances, which you all know. And I don't know if there's any possibility of being able to utilize some of those HUD dollars for our post-storm response. But as you know, we were out 15% of all costs associated with our temporary build-outs. And I think somewhere in the neighborhood of what, Paul, $6.5 million or so on the 15% side of things. And it takes a lot of work to get our fund balances back to a healthy condition. And if that storm were to happen again tomorrow, we wouldn't have the money to get back up on our feet again, and we're still dealing with economic issues. So, you know, any help that we could get, whether it's from that or other sources, we've got to seek that out.
And the community did support us in the bond issue, for $62 million bond issue last year, and we're rolling that right into the rebuild project. So that's coming in the door and going out the door as we build these buildings. So
Correct.
We do have issues, and we look forward to discussing with the city possibilities.
And that money can't be taken out and put back into Fund 1. That is totally designated for rebuild of the new schools.
Be against the law to use it.
Yeah, be against the law to do that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're glad to do our part to help rebuild a community, but we have some needs, and we're looking forward to having those discussions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry,
Good question.
Randy.
No, good question, Mike. Thank you. So my last thing as board president, I say, meeting adjourned.
She can vote again. Votes for president.
That is the official presidential cup.
No, now it's formers.
Can she still? John, can she vote?
Sure.
Yep.
Can you vote in favor?
You betcha.
All right.
So then I assume I'm to request nominations for vice president.
Mike Landis.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta speak to the microphone too.
I did, but Danny gave me a thumbs up. Congratulations.
Congratulations, likewise.
Need to adjourn and go into closed session.
Yeah, so do I hear a nomination to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. We'll always have this.